All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I'm Abhishek Mukhopadhyay and with me is VC Pramod. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says India is home to one of the world's largest startup ecosystems. Prime Minister invites world to invest in India based on 5 pillars of talent, market, capital, ecosystem and culture of openness. Union Cabinet approves subsidy hike for fertilizers, also approves corporatization of Ordnance Factory Board. Net direct tax collection during current fiscal doubles to 1.86 lakh crore rupees. Over 26 crore 53 lakh COVID vaccine doses administered in the country so far. Union Minister Nitin Gadkari says biofuels and low-cost battery technology will transform transport sector in India. US and Russia agree to resume arms control talks and to return ambassadors to each other's capitals. In women's cricket, England were 269 for 6 in the first innings against India at Stumps on day 1 of Bristol Test. And in Euro 2020 Group A, Italy qualifies for the knockout stages, beating Switzerland 3-0 and Wales beat Turkey while Russia defeat Finland in Group B. As many states are relaxing lockdown norms, we advise the listeners not to lower the guard as the COVID-19 pandemic remains a threat to our health. Please stay at home unless it is essential to go out and continue to follow the 4 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene, and get vaccinated. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011 2397 8046 and 1075. And now the news. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has stressed on the need for insulating the world against the next pandemic. He said focus on sustainable lifestyles that stop ecological degradation must be ensured. Mr. Modi called upon the startup community to take the lead in working with collective spirit and a human-centric approach to overcome this challenge. The Prime Minister was delivering the keynote address yesterday at the Viva Tech, which is one of the largest digital and startup events in Europe. The Prime Minister said India is adaptable and agile even in the middle of COVID-19 pandemic. He invited the world to invest in India based on the 5 pillars of talent, market, capital, ecosystem and culture of openness.
India's strides in the world of tech and startup are well known. Our nation is home to one of the world's largest startup ecosystems. Several unicorns have come up in the recent years. India offers what innovators and investors need. I invite the world to invest in India based on the 5 pillars of talent, market, capital, ecosystem and culture of openness. Indian tech talent pool is famous across the world. Indian youth have given tech solutions to some of the world's most pressing problems. Today, India has 1.18 billion mobile phones and 775 million internet users.
Mr. Modi said innovation can help where convention fails. He said digital technology help people cope, connect, comfort and console during the COVID-19 pandemic.
I believe where convention fails, innovation can help. This has been seen during the COVID-19 global pandemic, which is the biggest disruption of our age. All nations have suffered loss and felt anxiety about the future. COVID-19 put many of our conventional methods to test. However, it was innovation that came to the rescue. By innovation, I refer to innovation before the pandemic, innovation during the pandemic. When I speak about innovation before the pandemic, I refer to the pre-existing advances which help us during the pandemic.
The Prime Minister said indigenous IT technologies helped the fight against COVID-19. While the Arogya Setu enabled effective contact tracing, CoWIN platform helped ensure COVID vaccines to millions. He said 2 vaccines have been made in India and more are in the development or trial stage. Mr. Modi added that Aadhaar helped provide timely support to people during pandemic.
India's universal and unique biometric digital identity system, Aadhaar, help us to provide timely financial support to the poor. We could supply free food to 800 million people and deliver cooking fuel subsidies to many households. We in India were able to operationalize 2 public digital educational programs, Swayam and Diksha, in quick time to help students. The second part innovation for the pandemic refers to how humanity rose to the occasion and made the fight against it more effective.
The Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs, chaired by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, has approved the hike in nutrient-based subsidy rates for fertilizers, corporatization of Ordnance Factory Board, and proposal for Deep Ocean Mission. Briefing the media on Cabinet decisions in New Delhi yesterday, Minister of State for Chemicals and Fertilizers, Mansukh Mandavia, said, Cabinet has approved the proposal of the Department of Fertilizers for fixation of nutrient-based subsidy rates for phosphorus and potassium fertilizers for the year 2021-22. Terming this as a historic decision by the Modi government for the farmers, the minister said this will benefit the farmers by providing fertilizer at reasonable price.
किसानों को 1200 रुपीज में ही खाद मिलना चाहिए। जो पहले 500 रुपीज सब्सिडी देते थे वो सब्सिडी बढ़ा के प्राइस 2400 हो गई, 2400 रुपीज हो गई, तो 1200 रुपीज सब्सिडी देने का फैसला। इंटरनेशनल प्राइस के मुताबिक 2400 रुपीज हो गई। 2400 रुपीज में से 500 रुपीज हम सब्सिडी देते थे तो 1900 रुपीज उन्होंने मार्केट प्राइस कंपनियों ने रखी, तो 1900 रुपीज में किसानों को लेना पड़ेगा। तो मोदी जी ने कहा कि जी नहीं, 1200 रुपीज में ही किसान को मिलना चाहिए, तो और 700 रुपीज सब्सिडी बढ़ा दिया। तो कुल मिला के 1200 की बैग किसान को मिलेगी, उसके सामने 1200 रुपीज सब्सिडी भारत सरकार देगी।
Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar said that the Cabinet has approved the proposal of the Ministry of Earth Sciences on Deep Ocean Mission. He said this futuristic decision will give impetus to the blue economy by exploring deep ocean for resources and develop deep sea technologies for sustainable use of ocean resources.
आने वाले 5 सालों में ये डीप ओशन मिशन, इससे जिस ब्लू इकोनॉमी की हमने कल्पना की है, मत्स्य व्यवसाय से लेकर समुद्र की सारी शक्तियों का विकास के लिए दोहन करने का काम होगा। 6000 मीटर नीचे जाकर पानी में वहां मिनरल्स है, उसकी स्टडी अभी तक नहीं हुई, इसलिए ये काम पहला होगा।
The Cabinet also approved the splitting of the Ordnance Factory Board OFB and its 41 factories into 7 corporate entities on the lines of Defence Public Sector Undertakings DPSU. The move is aimed at providing these 7 companies greater autonomy and improved accountability. The OFB has an annual turnover of around 19,000 crore rupees. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, who heads the empowered group of ministers to oversee OFB's transformation, assuaged the concerns of around 70,000 OFB employees. Mr. Singh said there will be no change in the service conditions, salaries, retirement and other benefits. Our correspondent reports that once implemented, the OFB, the establishment of which was accepted by the British in 1775, will cease to exist.
Union Minister Nitin Gadkari has said that the transport sector in India is transforming rapidly with the growing use of biofuels in all kinds of vehicles. He said biofuels and low-cost battery technology will transform the transport sector in India. Addressing the World Conference organized by the BRICS Network University, Mr. Gadkari said that the country has also made huge progress with regard to low-cost battery technology. He said this transformation is not only good for the sustainability and health of the environment, but is also opening up new livelihoods in the country. Mr. Gadkari called upon IITs to take on research in innovative technology that can further revolutionize e-mobility. The minister also called for greater research cooperation among the BRICS countries in this sector. A 3-day virtual conference of BRICS Network Universities on the theme of electric mobility was inaugurated at IIT Bombay yesterday. This conference is part of the engagements that India is hosting under the education stream of the 13th BRICS Summit this year. Secretary Higher Education Hamid Khare expressed hope that these interactions between the best minds from the BRICS countries will benefit each member country in their shared quest of sustainability and inclusive growth. The nation continues to march strongly on the path of COVID recovery. For the 9th consecutive day yesterday, the number of new daily cases remained below the 1 lakh figure. In the past 24 hours, 62,224 new cases were recorded nationwide, whereas in the same time span, over 107,000 COVID patients successfully recovered from the infection. The recovery rate in the country has further improved to stand at 95.8%.
In the national capital Delhi, a total of 212 new cases of coronavirus infection were reported within 24 hours. Delhi government has said that 516 people recovered from the infection during the same period. A total of 25 deaths were reported in the city during the last 24 hours. Presently, the total number of active cases of COVID-19 in the national capital is 2,749. Delhi government has said that over 53,000 beneficiaries have been administered the COVID vaccine doses in the last 24 hours. So far, over 62 lakh doses have been administered to the beneficiaries in the national capital. Health and Family Welfare Ministry has said that over 26 crore 53 lakh COVID vaccine doses have been administered in the country so far. More than 32 lakh 62,000 vaccine doses were administered yesterday. Health Ministry said over 29 lakh beneficiaries were vaccinated with the first dose and over 3 lakh 56,000 received the second dose yesterday.
In Jharkhand, Unlock 3 came into force this morning with new guidelines, which will continue till June 24th. Government and private offices will now function with 50% attendance till 4 p.m., while all shops, shopping malls, departmental stores and business establishments have been allowed to open till 4 p.m. Complete lockdown in the state will be observed during the weekend falling in between. Only medical facilities, LPG, fuel stations and milk parlours have been allowed to open during complete lockdown. Educational and religious places will remain closed. Online teaching will continue in educational institutions. Interstate buses have been prohibited, while mandatory home quarantine of 7 days for people visiting from outside the state has been made compulsory during the lockdown. Government and private functions at common places have been prohibited. Only 11 persons will be allowed in marriage and 20 in funeral procession. In Tamil Nadu, another lion succumbed to COVID infection at the zoo yesterday. A male lion named Padmanathan, aged about 12 years, succumbed to SARS-CoV-2. The samples were tested at the National Institute of High Security Animal Diseases in Bhopal. The animal was housed in Lion Safari area. On the 4th of June, another lioness named Neela had died of corona. 9 lions had contracted the infection. The zookeepers have been vaccinated and are allowed to enter the enclosures only after wearing the PPE kits. More COVID-related information from our correspondent.
The state continued with an upward trend in COVID recovery. 21,000 COVID patients recovered from the pandemic after treatment yesterday. Over 10,000 fresh positive cases were registered yesterday. A total of 270 deaths were reported. More than 1,14,000 COVID patients are undergoing treatment. Over 1,71,000 RT-PCR samples were tested yesterday. Coimbatore and Erode districts continue to register over 1,000 cases each. Chennai registered a low of 689 cases yesterday. Joy, AIR News, Chennai.
Mumbai Dabbawala Union and CACR Foundation are providing free meal to relatives of COVID patients. The two organizations are trying to mitigate the suffering of patients' relatives due to COVID lockdown. More from a Mumbai correspondent.
During the first lockdown, critical and unmanageable situation arose at hospitals. To be with patients for 8 to 9 hours with empty stomach is not a joke, but patients' relatives were busy to take care of them in hospitals. Mumbai Dabbewalas and CACR Foundation observed non-availability of canteens and decided to provide free meal to the relatives of patients. Even though their daily earning is only Rs 266 per day, which is get disturbed during lockdown, they are continuously providing daily free food to 350 relatives of patients at KEM Hospital, 300 to Wadia Hospital and 120 relatives at Sand Hospital of Mumbai Municipal Corporation after second wave announced. Dashrath Kedar, Ananta Talekar, Rohidas Sawant are from Dabbewala and Nitin Balwani from CACR Foundation has taken initiative to distribute free food. Bhavna Gokhale, AIR News, Mumbai.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says India is home to one of the world's largest startup ecosystems. Prime Minister invites world to invest in India based on 5 pillars of talent, market, capital, ecosystem and culture of openness. Union Cabinet approves subsidy hike for fertilizers, also approves corporatization of Ordnance Factory Board. Net direct tax collection during current fiscal doubles to 1.86 lakh crore rupees. Over 26 crore 53 lakh COVID vaccine doses administered in the country so far. Union Minister Nitin Gadkari says biofuels and low-cost battery technology will transform transport sector in India. US and Russia agree to resume arms control talks and to return ambassadors to each other's capitals. In women's cricket, England were 269 for 6 in their first innings against India at stumps on day 1 of Bristol Test. And in Euro 2020, Group A, Italy qualifies for the knockout stages, beating Switzerland 3-0, and Wales beat Turkey, while Russia defeat Finland in Group B. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts.
Net direct tax collections have grown at a robust pace despite the disruption caused by the COVID-19 pandemic on the economy this financial year. Finance Ministry has said that net direct tax collections have increased by over 100% in the current fiscal compared to corresponding period of last financial year. The ministry said figures of direct tax collections for this financial year show the net collections are at 1,85,871 crore rupees compared to 92,762 crore rupees in the corresponding period of last fiscal. Finance Ministry said gross collection of direct taxes for this financial year stands at 2,16,602 crore rupees compared to 1,37,825 crore rupees in the corresponding period last year. Advanced tax collections for this financial year stands at 28,780 crore, which shows a growth of approximately 146% over the corresponding period last year. Government has invited written representations regarding the issues and glitches on the new income tax portal. These can be sent on the email address fmo@nic.in by 7 p.m. tomorrow. Senior Finance Ministry officials will hold interactive meeting with Infosys on the 22nd of June on issues in the new IT e-filing portal. Stakeholders, including members of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, auditors, consultants and taxpayers, will be part of the interaction. Infosys team will clarify on the glitches being faced.
Procurement of wheat in ongoing Rabi marketing season is continuing smoothly. 13% more wheat has been procured so far this year in comparison to last year's corresponding period. Over 428.77 lakh metric tons of wheat have been procured against last year's corresponding purchase of 379.68 LMT. About 48.2 lakh farmers have benefited from the ongoing wheat procurement. A total of 835.18 LMTs of paddy has been procured on MSP, benefiting 123.44 lakh farmers. 12% more paddy has been procured so far in comparison to last year's corresponding period. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will visit Assam today. He will inaugurate 12 border roads constructed by the Border Roads Organisation (BRO). Country's Act East's policy is directly connected with the development of the northeastern states. The central government has made substantial efforts to promote and boost connectivity, education and security in the region. Our correspondent reports, keeping with Prime Minister Narendra Modi's strategic vision of making Northeast India a gateway to Southeast Asia, the region is experiencing exponential growth in terms of developmental works.
Minister for Social Justice and Empowerment, Thawar Chand Gehlot, will inaugurate 14 cross-disability early intervention centers today. These centers are located at 7 national institutes and 7 composite regional centers under the Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities. These centers will provide contiguous facilities for therapeutic, rehabilitative care services and preschool training for children with disabilities. Presently, the national institutes have expertise in providing rehabilitative care and early intervention therapeutic services with a single disability focus. Heavy rains in the catchment areas of River Gandak in Nepal during the past 48 hours pose flood threat to North Bihar districts including East and West Champaran, Saran, Siwan and Gopalganj. Over 4 lakh cusecs of water discharged from Valmiki Nagar Gandak barrage has further aggravated the situation. Water level of Gandak river is increasing sharply and is flowing above the danger mark. People in low-lying areas have been advised to move to safer places. A maximum of 200 mm rain was recorded at Loria in West Champaran district. According to Met Department, heavy rain with thunderstorm is likely to take place in south and eastern parts of the state, including districts of Patna, Gaya, Nawada and Begusarai.
International Day of Yoga will be observed worldwide on 21st of June. Theme for this year is Yoga for Well-being. COVID pandemic continues to affect lives and livelihoods of people the world over. The importance of yoga in promoting holistic health of people is very relevant in such a time. Our correspondent takes a look at the benefits of doing yoga.
Yoga is more than just a physical activity. It is an ancient physical, mental and spiritual practice which has many benefits. Regular practice helps a person improve flexibility, bone health, build muscle strength, increase blood flow and lower blood pressure. Breathing exercises in yoga such as pranayama helps a person release stress and anxiety. Yoga improves immunity and also aids in weight loss. Regular practice of yoga helps people maintain a stress-free, balanced, healthy lifestyle, which is the need of the hour. Suparna Singh, AIR News, Delhi.
Talking exclusively to AIR News, Vaidya Rajesh Kotecha, Secretary Ministry of Ayush, said yoga is an integral part of COVID treatment.
Now that we have a lot of evidences that yoga is very good, different types of yoga practices are very good for prevention and treatment of COVID-19. Government of India has released National Clinical Management Protocol for treatment of management of COVID-19 through Ayurveda and yoga. So yoga is an integral part of treatment of COVID-19 and there are different designs and protocols of yoga practices available for COVID treatment.
US President Joe Biden and his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin agreed at their first summit to resume arms control talks and to return ambassadors to each other's capitals after they were withdrawn earlier this year. The two leaders sat down together for the first face-to-face bilateral talks in Geneva last night. The two leaders praised the talks that lasted for less time than was scheduled. Both leaders said Russia and the US shared responsibility for nuclear stability and would hold talks on possible changes to the recently extended New START Arms Limitation Treaty. With 37 days to go for the Tokyo Olympic Games, today we bring you India's top women weightlifter Saikom Mirabai Chanu.
Born on August 8, 1994 in Imphal, Manipur, Mirabai Chanu broke into the limelight by winning the 2017 Weightlifting World Championship in the 48 kg category. This came after her disappointing efficiency at the Rio Games in 2016, but she came back strongly to win not just 2017 World Championships but also the 2018 Commonwealth Games with a combined total lift of 196 kg, a national record. It was for the first time in 20 years that an Indian women weightlifter won a gold medal at the World Championship.
पूरा 12 साल की बात वेटलिफ्टिंग में कोई भी नहीं ले पाया था मेडल वर्ल्ड में. कुछ अच्छा बनना है तो सैक्रिफाइस भी करना बहुत ही जरूरी है.
In 2019, the doping ban on the participation of Chinese weightlifters was lifted. Due to this, the challenge faced by Mirabai Chanu got much stiffer. Mirabai Chanu bettered her own national record at 2019 World Weightlifting Championships by registering a lift of 201 kg to finish at 4th. At the 2020 Asian Weightlifting Championships in 2021, Mirabai Chanu came up with her career's best performance with a combined total of 205 kg.
मैं इंडिया का एक वुमेन की तरफ से मैं बोलना चाहती हूँ कि हम भी कुछ कर सकते हैं.
She lifted a world record weight of 119 kg in the clean and jerk category. This performance won Mirabai Chanu a bronze medal and made her a top contender at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics in her weight category. For all her achievements in the 2017-18 season, Mirabai Chanu was conferred the Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna and the Padma Shri.
In the women's one-off Test cricket, England scored 269 runs for 6 in their first innings against India at the end of the opening day's play at County Ground, Bristol last night. England captain Heather Knight scored 95 runs while Tammy Beaumont made 66. Indian debutant Sneh Rana bagged 3 wickets while spinner Deepti Sharma picked up 2 wickets and medium pacer Pooja Vastrakar took 1 wicket. In Euro Cup football tournament, Italy qualified for the knockout stages after beating Switzerland 3-0 in a Group A match in Rome last night. Earlier, Wales moved closer to qualifying for the knockout stages after a 2-0 win over Turkey in their second Group A match at Baku. Russia defeated Finland by a solitary goal in the Group B encounter at St. Petersburg. In today's fixtures, Ukraine meet North Macedonia at Bucharest and Denmark will clash with Belgium at Copenhagen.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for today. The national capital Delhi will witness cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. Minimum temperature is 26 degrees and the maximum will go up to 37 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have generally cloudy sky with heavy rain. Chennai will see generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. Kolkata will also see generally cloudy sky. Minimum temperature is 26 degrees Celsius and maximum will go up to 29 degrees. Jammu will have partly cloudy sky. Srinagar will have partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm. Leh will have partly cloudy sky. The minimum and maximum temperature will move from a minimum of 5 degrees to a maximum of 15 degrees Celsius. Gilgit will see generally cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm. And Muzaffarabad will have mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy towards evening. Minimum temperature was 17 degrees Celsius and maximum will be around 36 degrees.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. Excess early rains boost sowing trend. Planting of summer crops this year has been higher by 38% than previous year, reports Hindustan Times. The Tribune, quoting the Prime Minister at Viva Tech, says, "Repair, prepare, need of hour." Modi urges world to invest in India, reports the Statesman. Chirag blames JDU for LJP split, vows to save party, informs the Pioneer. Economic Times quotes Union Minister for Electronics and IT, Ravi Shankar Prasad, as saying, Twitter chose path of non-compliance deliberately. The Times of India, citing UK parliamentary panel, writes China seeking to control bodies like WHO, Interpol. Hallmarking of gold comes into effect, reports Asian Age. And finally, soon drones might ferry vaccines. Well, the Hindu writes that drones could soon be used for delivering COVID-19 vaccines in remote and hard-to-reach geographies in the country.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says India is home to one of the world's largest startup ecosystems. Prime Minister invites world to invest in India based on 5 pillars of talent, market, capital, ecosystem and culture of openness. Union Cabinet approves subsidy hike for fertilizers. Also approves corporatization of Ordnance Factory Board. Net direct tax collection during current fiscal doubles to 1.86 lakh crore rupees. Over 26 crore 53 lakh COVID vaccine doses administered in the country so far. Union Minister Nitin Gadkari says biofuels and low-cost battery technology will transform transport sector in India. US and Russia agreed to resume arms control talks and to return ambassadors to each other's capitals. In women's cricket, England were 269 for 6 in the first innings against India at Stumps on day 1 of Bristol Test. And in Euro 2020 Group A, Italy qualifies for the knockout stages, beating Switzerland 3-0, and Wales beat Turkey while Russia defeat Finland in Group B. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.